Welcome, everybody, to a very, very big event today. Um, we we have been settling in. We just had to work out some little kinks here, but we are finally live and ready to go. I have Cam, the man, waiting patiently to finally introduce himself to the community, and we are so very excited. So first, before we bring on our amazing distinguished guest, our friend Cam, the man, we just want to update everybody. In case you missed it, finally, finally, we have all of our miners up and running. As you can see in our announcement today, let me head over to our announcement channel. Finally, we have 29 miners at 2800 hash rate mining for us. Family, we did it. We did it. In less than 30 days, we got all of our miners up and running, mining Bitcoin for the community that fast. So Roadmap 2.0 is done. We have the miners. We're ready to go. This is a huge milestone. This is huge. And we're ready to move forward. We are ready to move forward. Our focus now is completing Roadmap 1.0, creating that token utility that everyone is so anxious about, and getting that merch store up and running for you all. We are so excited. We're so thankful that you've been patient. But again, we're moving pretty fast. We are moving pretty fast. And we did it. There's going to be a payout. Keep an eye on that Bitcoin community wallet. You're going to see that having payouts daily. That number is going to keep going up. As Bitcoin goes up, it's going to go up. Everything is going to keep growing. SYAC is growing. So, we're so glad to have you all here today. We're so glad to have you all here today. And before we get into Cam, we have one last thing. In our second week of Sweep the Floor Sunday, we have a tie. We had two SYAC members. Both get three SYACs off the floor in the 24-hour time period. Big shout out to Grove Killa, who got three at the buzzer in the last 3 minutes. Got three SYACs, as well as our other friend here, HVP IETERTJE. So congratulations to you both. Open a ticket in the Discord. We will get you that role, and we'll put you down on our list to get that exclusive SYAC merchandise. All right. So now it is finally time. I am so excited for this moment. I hope you all are too. So, our friend Cam is here. Yeah, this is a big deal. I'm going to turn my mic on, and we're going to get started. So, all right. Cam, can you hear me?
I can.
All right.
What's going on, man?
Hey, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. It's a pleasure to finally introduce our SYAC distinguished guest, Cameron Newell. Cam, you're live on our YouTube. Everyone can finally see you. Anxious to meet you. How's it going?
Good, man. Just this is a little bit coming, and I thought maybe you were just not there for a second. I just didn't know if technical difficulties what was going on, but it's good to have you on. I had it so I kind of want to know like how you found me a little bit. You know, like you said you've been following me a long time, um, and I'm just kind of curious on all that stuff. I guess before we get started.
Yeah, absolutely. So, first of all, to introduce myself, I'm Caesar. I actually have not been the one speaking to you. You've been speaking to my partner Tarzan, who, Tarzan has said, honestly, so many amazing things about you. He says what a humble guy you are, how hard you work, and what an inspiration you are when it comes to day trading. He said that he just kind of found you, found your story, and began following you. and started talking about you to me, saying, hey, we should look to bring this guy in because in this NFT world, in this crypto space, there needs to be a good utility, and we believe that having someone that was able to turn $1,000 into millions, and you being able to come in here and educate our members, I mean, a utility like that doesn't get much better.
Yeah, yeah. So you haven't known about me, but your friend had, right?
Say that one more time for me.
Hold on, let me make sure my mic's going up here.
Let me see if people can hear you. I'm hearing they might not be able to hear you.
Say that one more time for me. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I'm not sure if it's going through.
Because in the beginning it was going through until I think you joined, and then that's when we
Hmm.
was the issue. I think it might be working now. Let's see.
Let's see, chat. Can you guys hear Cam? Let me double check here. We're learning here. We learn every day.
Chat, can you guys hear Cam? So yeah, on YouTube you sound really loud, but for whatever reason. Let me double check here. We're learning here. We learn every day.
Let me see if it's something on.
Yeah, it's they can. I can. So I just listened to it, and they can barely hear me. Like I can hear kind of a little slightly of me, but
Here, let's see if this works. All right, how about now? Try that now.
all right. Test, test, test. Mic check. A little slightly of me, but okay. So let's see if this works. I think we're good now.
Good?
Okay. All right. Anywho.
Sorry about that.
Yeah,
we're good.
So you found me through, you said Tarzan, is that it?
Yeah, my partner Tarzan. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. And you guys do like NFT stuff. Like you guys are doing like, trying to create NFTs and be profitable in that area of the market. Is that correct?
Yeah, so what our project is, in short, is we are a Bitcoin mining community. So we created our NFTs. People would mint them, they purchase them, they own them, and then they are actually part of the community wallet. So we actually just introduced, we have 29 Bitcoin miners up and running at 2,800 hash rate, and then it's just mining Bitcoin, and then everyone that owns one of the NFTs then has pretty much access to the wallet. So at the end of each month, we get to vote. Should we reinvest in more miners? Should we pay out the community? Should we reinvest in other NFTs, etc.?
Okay. And how long have you been mining Bitcoin for?
So it's actually only been a little over a week now. We're, I think, coming up on the 2-week mark because we minted in January, and then we ordered the Bitcoin miners, and now they're finally all up and running. Actually, today's the first day. We got all 29 up and running now.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I thought about, like, when I was in college, I thought about mining Bitcoin. That was going to be, like, my, I don't know, way to create a living.
Yeah.
It was, like, a really, really strong thought of mine. Because at the time, I had enough money to buy, like, I don't know, like 40 or 50 Bitcoin miners.
Mm-hmm.
And I was potentially going to take out a loan and, like, create a warehouse concept. All looking back, I did better in trading, but it would have been pretty close.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
And so, but yeah, I mean, overall, Bitcoin and NFTs, they're a space that, I know about, and I'm kind of dollar cost averaging a slight percentage of my net worth into Ethereum and Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very small, but the dollar cost averaging takes the emotion out of it. And then I just kind of like, I know that there's a lot of upside to it, but I also know that we've never seen this in history. So, there's always two sides of every story. And that's kind of the part that's kind of helped me maintain me being grounded at all times. It's like any professional athlete who goes up there and they win a game and they say, let's take it one game at a time. And I truly know what that feels like now, because as soon as you take your foot off the gas pedal, as soon as you get a little complacent, you end up being the retail. You end up being, back where everyone else is at. And so you just constantly have to take it one day at a time, make sure you're making every day better than yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And, really just have that basic mentality until there's opportunities that really align with what your vision is, and then you can step on the gas pedal that much more when you're ready. So, so yeah, I mean, that's awesome, man. I'm glad that you're kind of starting that project, and are you in your mid-20s or?
Yeah, I am actually.
Okay, so yeah, I'm in my mid to upper 20s. We're creeping up there. We're getting almost grandpa now these days. We're turning 28 in like 6 months. So
nice.
So yeah, awesome, man. I'm happy for you. I'm happy that you're figuring something out. You're going for it, and all you can do is make every day better than yesterday, right?
Yeah, man, absolutely. And that the main reason, the whole philosophy behind this project is because, like you said, you were thinking about investing in yourself and in the Bitcoin miners, and we were just thinking, the average person can't afford to do that. So how can we make it that the average person can kind of get in on something like this? And then we were thinking, what else can we do to make our project stand out? And whenever we saw you, we said, you can educate our people and our members in our community, and it was just something we thought that would be very appealing. So that's why we wanted to bring you on in, and we're so thankful you are here.
Feel free to ask me any questions. I'm a pretty open book. I'm happy to help, during this podcast or, YouTube stream. I'm happy to help if anybody has any questions, comments, concerns. It didn't happen overnight. That's all I can say. So,
yeah. And really, that's where I kind of just want to get started. And I just wanted to ask you, how did you get started? What was your first step? Like, I just want to hear your story. Our community wants to hear the story, how you got into this.
Yeah, so funny enough, I started in high school. My buddy, he told me about Robinhood, and I was always kind of a frugal guy, and I didn't really like to spend a lot of money. And my friends will always remember that about me, especially where I'm at now. I still have a lot of the same friends that I've had mainly my whole life, and I've always just been that frugal kind of person where. I don't know. I didn't really feel comfortable, nor did I really want to spend money on a lot of things. I mean, I might go to McDonald's here and there, but I wasn't, doing anything too crazy. I was always kind of a frugal guy. And Jordan, not Jordan, Jake, a buddy of mine, he showed me Robinhood, and that was something that I had never heard of, and that was something that was free. And whenever I hear the word free, I'm like, sure, that's a great, my eyes would open up, and I'd be like, all right, let's turn it into something, or at least give it a shot. And so, but I really didn't, get into trading then. I mean, I might have just barely, but it really wasn't until I was in community college where I was like, all right, I really don't like school. Studying every day sucks. This is just not for me. I'm the type of person that I need to see what actually will come of something that I'm putting my time into. Just like anybody else in this world, people put their times into this thing, that thing, the other thing, whether it's being a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, whatever. We all put our time into something and expect to put food on the table and a roof over our head. And so, you kind of have to understand, what you're putting your time into and where the value is for that in the long run, right? And that's kind of what I was doing in college. I was like, I don't see any of this, maintaining my life throughout a long term. And not only that, but I had heard it from a couple people already going into college that a lot of their degrees that they use, they didn't even use, a lot of them didn't even use it going into their workspace. So that was like a big red flag. Another thing was just, I had literally just spending time doing some of the schoolwork that I was doing. I'm like, how the hell is this going to even kind of give me any kind of concept of what I'm going to do in the future? I'm looking at, all these math problems. I'm just like that, and now I have engineer friends and they're like, yeah, we don't even use any of that really. It's just like, and so it's just making sure you put your time into something that's worthwhile is really important. And I just couldn't equate that to what I was doing at that time. So I needed something that I felt like was going to be not only in the short term, a really positive thing for me, but in the long term as well. It could be that much better. You start so differently getting your AA, then your bachelor's, and then your PhD, right? But it takes time over years and years to level up into those degrees. And that's kind of where I'm at now. I found my stride and so on and so forth. But, and so I started kind of just finding trading and looking online, and I saw a lot of people on YouTube, and I really just, saw these people making all this money, and I'm like, if they can do it, why can't I do it? And so I started just putting, $100 here, $300 there into Robinhood. I kept blowing up my account over and over again. And that wasn't really that fun, obviously. But, I knew that at that point in my life, it's still a small enough amount to where it didn't matter. It got to a point, though, where I actually lost half my net worth. And I told everyone, like, I quit trading. And at that point, I kind of felt like I was gambling. I kind of felt like, what the hell am I doing? I'm 20 at the time. I think I was like 21 or 22 or something like that. I can't even. But I was working for Domino's Pizza as a delivery driver, and that was kind of my income at the time. I tried to figure out a way to have a little bit of income. And at that point, like I said, I lost half my net worth, so I told everybody I quit. But deep down inside, I remember me just kind of always feeling like I didn't want to quit. And and it's just like, it's one thing when you say it, but you really truly have to mean it. And it's two different parts of the brain, I think. One is, okay, I quit, and the other is, did you really quit, right? And
yeah,
I didn't really quit. I just told everybody I quit.
yeah.
In a way that, like, I really did, like, convince people that I quit. And I mean, I'll never forget the trade. It was MGTI at the time. John McAfee, it was part of the stock that he was saying he was going to be a part of. And of course, he's a huge name. He created McAfee, the antivirus thing. And it was at 40 cents, and he kept posting on social media about it. And it went to $5 in 7 days. And the amount of liquidity and volume was insane.
Yep.
And I just, and I was in it. I was in it at 44 cents, and I sold it at like 70 cents or 60 cents, and I watched this thing go to $5. And now my mentality is, I knew that was an obvious short. I mean, I've been through this game long enough to know when you see a stock going like that with that much liquidity and that much volatility and that much tweeting going on about it and all this hype, right? All good things come to an end eventually, and it collapsed on me, and I got FOMO up at the 470 range, I believe, the day that it was the top. And I had watched this thing go from $2 to $3 to $4, and I wasn't even a part of it at that time. Now, I mean, that's tough. I was like, wow, like I could have made so much more, and I'm sitting on the sidelines and I'm out, and it's all this emotional psychology that you go through as a trader where you just see this thing keep going and going, and you keep telling yourself how much you missed out on, and to a point where enough is enough. You've snapped. You snapped your mentality, and you turn into, okay, I'm going to buy it because I'm tired of this shit. I'm sorry, but I'm tired of this stuff. Like, it is what it is. And so I kept trying to, every day I'd be like, okay, maybe take a dip, and then I'd let it go, and I'd maybe take a dip. And the day it topped out, I got too much FOMO, bought it, and I bought it with a lot. And at that time, I think it was like $5,000 or something like that. And I lost pretty much instantaneously. Not only that I stuck holding this because I was on 4-day trades under a PDT account, didn't know what that was. So at that point, I couldn't get out. I couldn't get out of this trade. Maybe I could have. I can't even remember. But I knew that if I made something, I felt like I was going to be penalized, and I didn't know the punishment. But I felt like I couldn't get out, as far as I can remember. The brokerage literally wouldn't let me because I was had already had 4-day trades. That's already one too many of under a 25K account. And so I literally just watched this thing intraday go from $5 down to like $2.25, and that just watching that, like, it hurt so bad inside. Like you couldn't really see it on my face, but it was just like all this time, just that I put in at the time, which wasn't that much, but at the time I was like, yeah, I put in all this time, and I watched it all kind of dwindle away on me. And at that point, when I got out of trade the next morning, I believe I was down like 40-50%. And I just couldn't believe, what had just happened. I was so starstruck, and I was just speechless. And I told my girlfriend, I was like, I quit. And that was it for me. And then I started getting, like, I basically did quit for a little bit. And then I just kind of slowly got back into it. But at that time, my back was against the wall. I remember being in Ellensburg, starting a $1,000 account challenge. In college, going to a different college now, CWU. And the difference was for me is my back was against the wall. If I lost anything else, it could have changed the way I go to college, could have changed my living situation. I mean, I was teetering.
Yep.
And that back against the wall, I'll never forget. That's really what changed it. I was smart enough inside. I just needed to have that mentality where, here, you can't lose here, you can't lose here. And when you start looking at the stocks where you can't lose instead of how much you can make, it changes your entire mindset of the way that you trade. And that was the biggest change. My back was against the wall. I knew if I lost the money that I had in the account, it could potentially change my living in the college that I went to, and it was 100% real. Unless my parents helped me out more than they were, but my parents weren't those type of people. My dad's an engineer, and my mom was she had her doctorate, and they were very, very, they helped me out when needed. But I also respect the fact that they kept me grounded and motivated, and they know that and I'll never forget that helped me. That helped me a lot. Going throughout my life and just keeping that grounded mentality of anything can happen. And your life is what you make of it, and so you can't have any excuses. I hear so many excuses online when people see what I've done. They're like, well, this, that, and the other thing, this isn't real, and this is all fake. Number one. Number two is, well, this is just as impossible. And, number three is, well, if you can do it, then why can't everyone else? And the truth is you can. You just immediately check out when seeing, this challenge. And I've done 3 now. And it just doesn't seem real. And that's where I get the most disbelief, I feel like, is when people just look at it and they're like, just a typical scam on YouTube. And I really don't blame them. Typical scam on YouTube and a typical account it just never happened. There's no way. And the reality is it can be done. It's just you have to put your mentality into a belief that it can be done. And really, the only reason why you don't believe it is because other people haven't done it, okay? But why don't you, like, my mentality is always, why don't you push the limits past what you think is possible? Because the only reason why someone else thinks it's possible is because someone's done it. But why don't you surpass that? Why isn't that you? You're already in a poor mindset if you're not putting yourself in a situation where you think, let's say somebody has 1 million Bitcoin miners and you think, okay, well, you can never do that, right? But all of a sudden you have 2 million Bitcoin miners and you're the guy who, like, everybody is the golden standard. Like, wow, that actually is possible. But then there's everybody else who thinks, well, there's just no way. I can't hit that 2 million Bitcoin miners. It's just not a chance. I don't even know if that's a realistic number. I don't think it is, but I'm just saying in this conversation we're having, I'm just using that as an example. It's just that mindset switch that I think a lot of people need to get into in order to achieve what they really can achieve, because so many people check out in life in any situation just because they're like, well, I can't do it. And the reason why they think that is because no one's ever done it. But if no one's ever done it, why isn't that you? You just hold your standards way too low, in my opinion. And that's like, for everyone, I feel like a lot of people hold their standards into a position where it's just not high enough, I think. And some people just don't want to, and that's fine. I don't hate on that. It's just, I just don't like the people who are online, messaging on StockTwits or Twitter or anything else on social media, and they're like, well, it's just not possible. I'm like, first of all, the number one problem right now is that mindset that you're in. That's not going to help you in life. If you're already online looking at me trying to see that, obviously you want to maintain some type of that concept, or maybe just do, just make $100 a day, $500 a day, whatever it is, and then you can truly achieve it. So.
Wow. That's really interesting, man. I mean, especially the way, I don't know as much about stock as the a normal person, and I think that's really the whole point here is we think that as a community, the average person doesn't really know how to get into something like this, and you're pretty much embodying that anyone can do it. You just have to, have that mindset, and that's amazing, because one of the things we preach here is just like that positivity, and you definitely have that. It's so cool to see it. And really what my next question would be is just how and when did you figure it out? Like, what was it when you really, that kind of sent you from, I'm kind of struggling here, and then what was that like? Do you have an it clicked moment, or was there a trade you made, or was there a video you watched? What was it that really got you to the top?
In terms of like when was I finally becoming consistently profitable and what clicked, or in terms of where I'm at right now?
Yeah, what was it that when you started becoming profitable, when you really started figuring out and you started having more good days than bad days?
Like I said in what I said earlier was is that when my back's against the wall, that's really what changed everything. When I lost half my net worth, when I told my family and my friends I quit, and I don't even know if my parents knew that at the time, to be honest. But I knew deep down, I saw every day opportunities, 100%, 300%, 500%, and they were real. They were right in front of me. You can't lie. You see what the charts do, and that's exactly what happened. You can't fake that. And the only thing that you could fake is not being in them. But the reality is someone was in them, and some people did make 20, 50, 100, 200%. It's right there in front of you. It's the stock exchange traded it. You see it, and that's the beautiful thing about when I generally use charts as trading is there's no BS. When the thing goes 1,000, when we saw DWAC go from $5 to $105 was in the past. I think it was like 4 months ago, 3 months ago, 2 months ago. That really happened. Or 100. Sorry, I went to 170. And so just when you see those, when I saw that, I'm like, okay, why can't what? How do I figure out how to put myself in a situation to be here and sell here? That's it. It's like it's concept. It's very basic, very simple. And then I'm not going to go too complicated, but shorting is different. Where you short here and you buy back here and you profit there, right? Either way, why can't I put myself in a conviction setup that's 80-20, 70-30, 60-40, depending upon your risk levels and all that, that I can't be into something that can be me. That I can actually do that. I can get myself in a situation where I actually feel like I have a predictable setup on my side. So that was my goal. My job was to find predictable setups, and that was it. As soon as I can find predictable setups where I know there's clear risk off and a solid conviction setup, just repeating that like a robot after that is the goal. That's it. People try and make and over the past 6 to 7 months, I'll be honest, I made trading way too complicated. I was doing, if I'm going to be completely transparent, 300, half a mil to a mil in one day for like a couple months at a time, and so that was just a eye-opening concept that's even possible. And the reality was the things that I was getting into, you could have made 10, 20 million intraday, maybe even 30 million on the GameStops and the AMCs, right? I mean, it was truly incredible to remember those days and be in that position to where if I had a bigger account, I could have made way more. If I had a smaller account, I could have made way less. It's all about the percentages, and it's all about putting yourself in a proper setup that only you feel comfortable in. You can't take all these people online saying, I'm long and I'm selling, because, only you can ever have conviction in a setup that actually, you've studied, you've put the time in, you've bid down, and you've said, okay, I've spent hours and hours and hundreds of hours, if not thousands of hours, to just have all these setups that are ingrained in your mind. So when they come up, you play them properly. And if you don't have conviction in your head, no matter how much and how hard you try and fight that, you will always make the trade, and it won't be the right trade, and you probably will end up losing because as soon as it goes under your price, under your entry, you're going to probably stop out because you're in too big, and then all of a sudden you get nervous and you compound your losses very, very quickly. And it's truly amazing how much there is into trading when it comes to the mental side of things. That's one of the most underrated part of trading is the mental capacity to try and keep yourself in and out, and when do you exit, and when do you buy, and when do you short. And I've lost $500,000 on GameStop short before. I'll be to be honest, trading is very, very hard, and I'm not gonna shy away from saying that because it's insanely hard. You have to be ready at all times for any type of moves that you've never seen before. In the GameStop short that I had, I was about 95.5 on that setup that it was going to pan out, and I was 18 cents away from covering that. Didn't hit my price target in my mind. Ends up shooting up to 200, and my short was at 83. I was looking to cover under 80. I went to 80, 18, and then it shot straight up, skipped after hours to 96, stopped out. Before you know it, it's at 200.
Yeah.
So there's those are black swan events, but so yeah, I mean, my back, to answer your question, my back was against the wall, and I just had to figure out a way. I'm very competitive in my mindset, and more or less competitive against myself, because it is a competitive mentality, but it's against yourself more than anything. And once you can kind of add up all the time and all the work that you've put in, it should compound if you do things properly. And over the past 6 and 7 months, I've really screwed that up because I had, all this huge 3 months, right?
Uh-huh.
And then over the past 6 to 8 months now, I've been like kind of flatlining, where I'm not really making a whole lot nor losing a whole lot. But I was taking some big swings, expecting mentality-wise to, get myself into those $500,000 days, $1 million days, right? And that just wasn't out there anymore. And I had to accept that, but I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't accept that, and so then I might slip down a big chunk, and I'd prefer to talk percentages, but the reality is I don't really know the percentages at that time. Let's say I was probably on that GameStop trade. I was probably like 40%, 50% on the account at that time on one of my bigger trades. But I wish that my account would show the percentages more than anything because I prefer to talk percentages because that's the biggest part of anything. You can't expect, I remember making $12, $15 a day, and I'm not kidding. I mean, that was 4 years ago or so.
Uh-huh.
I was doing $10, $12, $15, $20 days, but I compounded it and I compounded it, So you have to start somewhere. You can't just expect to hit the moon quickly.
Yeah.
This whole trading world, there's a lot of different moving parts to it. And at any one time, you could be in something and then make a mistake, and like GameStop, and that could have been a very, very, very worse day than it was. But you have to have plans in place, even when you've never seen something before. Because anytime I haven't seen something before, I want to be in it. I want to be in it because I know there's going to be a lot of opportunity.
Yep.
There's going to be a lot of volatility, and there's going to be a lot of exchanging of I'm not going to say wealth, but a lot of exchanging of money. And you want to be a part of it, but you got to size down a little until you get yourself into a situation where you can predict it a little bit more in that situation you've never been in before.
Yeah. Wow. That's awesome. And to me, it sounds like you really found a system that worked for you, and you were most successful when you stuck to that system. So
yeah,
that's really cool, man. And then I'm just curious, I've watched some of your videos. I've been seeing what you've been saying in our channel, and you say to study a lot. What, if just as someone who doesn't know, what do you mean exactly by study? And this is really just so our community can kind of hear what you, if you had to point me in the right direction.
Yeah. Studying is, and a lot of people ask me, what should I study? And, the reality is anything you can get your hands on that has to do with the markets. One of the biggest things I say, just to start, go on FinViz every day when the market closes, go back and look at the biggest gainers and the biggest losers, see how they reacted. For an entire year, just see how they reacted.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the way people traded them. Understand patterns that are repetitive, and continue to look every single day. Don't take any days off. Don't make any excuses. What's 5 minutes a day on your phone or on your computer, or go back and have somebody screenshot them when you're on vacation if you don't have access to internet. There really is no excuses for 5 minutes a day. It really comes down to how bad you want it at that point. And then just go back and look. How did the stock up 1,000% react in one day? How did a stock react 100% in one day? How did a stock react that was 80? Anything that's down 80% intraday, I'm 95.5 that I will trade that stock. I'll play the bottom balance of that stock because a lot of times it's oversold itself. There's a lot of I wait for kind of bigger volume candles to get myself into, but I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole of all my strategies because that takes me hours and hours and hours. But I will say that, that's the biggest concept to start with. Just go on FinViz. It's a simple concept. You want to get crazier? Maybe 10, 20 minutes a day? Go on YouTube, right? Start typing in, just look at my YouTube. My YouTube's Cameron Man. I go over my trades every single day. They're all recorded for 3-4 years now. I have 3 separate account challenges from 1,000 to 1 million that are all recorded. And I probably have about 90% of the days, 95% of the days that I've traded and explained what my thought process was, why I traded it, and how I got myself in that mentality. And if you go back, that'll take you alone, if you go back through my videos, I'm going to say 6 months.
Wow.
Depending on how much time you put into it, but it's a lot of content, and it's all free.
Yeah.
I do that because that way people can go back and never forget, what I did and how I did it, and always have that kind of archived away the rest of my life. That way, people don't have any excuses of what to look at. It's all archived. It's all on YouTube, and you can go back and look and see when I was making, you can go back and look at when I was in Ellensburg, and that was when I was in my little dorm. I was probably like a little 100-foot, maybe 50-foot cubicle that I had.
Uh-huh.
And I was just trading on a laptop with 2 screens. And that was when I was in college. And I believe I made about $150,000 to $200,000 when I was in college. And then I decided to drop out. And at that point, and I came back into this apartment that I'm in now. And never looked back. I mean, I'm truly blessed. I'm truly blessed to be where I'm at. I don't ever take a day for granted. I truly, speaking from someone that is in my situation, I guess, and truly being able to, live a life that has no stress and a lot of the financial side of things. I'm truly blessed and honored to be able to hopefully, motivate and inspire a lot of people out there. And, the reality is, when you get yourself in this situation, I think it really helps you take life in a different lens. It really, really helps you appreciate life every day, and you really just want to make every day better. People are in the rat chase, right? They're like, okay, well, what am I, like, I just want to make another dollar every day. That's what 90% of America looks like, probably more. How am I going to put a food on the table and a roof over my head? And if you get past that point, of that kind of rat chase now, I'll be honest, I appreciate, I really do appreciate every part of life right now. It's just every day that, you can make, change someone else's life is kind of just, the greatest thing for me at this point in my life. I could retire if I wanted to, but the reality is I love what I do. I truly have a passion for this. And not only do I have a passion for trying to be the best trader in the world, but I even more so, I hope that along the way that it inspires so many people, because the reality is Warren Buffett and George Soros and all those big names, right? Those guys didn't have a documented, archived situation like I have the opportunity to be able to do. So, the goal would be to archive, when I started basically, at the time when in college, I had like 8,000 or 9,000 when I lost half my net worth. I put about $1,000 into account, turned it into $1 million, and then I did 1,000 into 600,000 or 700,000 using Robinhood, and then I went on vacation a year for 35 days, and that was so awesome. And then this final one that I'm doing, I decided to say, you know what? I had a lot of people, a lot of mods, and a lot of my closest friends tell me, you know what? Enough with this 1,000 to $1 million for other people and showing them and inspiring. It's time to kind of take it to the next level and see how far you can push this. And that's going to be my mentality the rest of my life. How far can I push this? How far can I take it? And, today was a great day. It was a nice green day. But it's those days that, man, I looking back, it was so fun to have those crazy volatile days. And now you have to appreciate, that. And so I've learned so much in the past 6 to 7, 8 months about myself. There's time to size up, and there's times to look at reality in the face and say, you know what, I'm going to take way size down, and we're going to go back into basic mentality until we get those opportunities again. But my mentality wasn't like that. I was too on a high, and I was swinging down $1 million, swinging up $1 million, and it was just like, I can't be doing that in a market that doesn't really support it as much anymore.
Yep.
So, and I trade a little bit of options too. And it's all the same concepts in options. Right now, we've taken a 5K account into 11.1K in the past 7 days. And I've traded options in the past, and I've taken 1,000 to 35,000, 1,000 to 10,000. And then I just get too, like I said, I push too far. And as soon as I have that 80% to 90% of my account in, I'm too far generally. There's probably 6 to 8 to maybe 10 times a year I should truthfully be doing that. Besides that, just take your 20% of your account and trade with it. And just take the base hits and take the small winners and take what's out there. Don't start forcing things that aren't there.
Wow. Well, you said that, you're blessed. Every day is a blessing. And, I mean, we're seriously blessed to just have you here, man, because your story, it's inspiring. It really is. It's so cool to hear this, coming from you. That like the fact that you're able to do this over and over again, dude, it's truly amazing. And, I don't want to take up too much of your time today, but before I do let you go, I want to hear about your company. Can you tell me about this? Tell our community about your company here.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically, an educational service to the stock market, and I have many concepts that are free, and I've always been someone, I've been a part of companies in the past, and even Jim Cramer, he charges for his alert service, let's say. But at the end of the day, it's just an educational resource to hopefully create ideas and concepts that you can learn from throughout the day. And I have my YouTube, like I said, is Cam the Man on YouTube, but
Yep.
you can go back and look at all those videos and hopefully learn from something there. I have a free chat room. And that's just I keep it free because I remember when I started, there was doors that were shut because I couldn't afford it, nor did I want to take the risk to be able to be paying for chat rooms and then maybe be losing in trading as well. And it's kind of a double whammy. But I will say having a community of like-minded people is extremely, extremely important, I think, for everyone in the world. I think that, what do they always say? They say surround yourself around people who you want to look up to or kind of like be like, let's say.
Yeah.
And that's the reality. You're going to, the closest 5 to 7 people that you're around, you're going to end up kind of having some of their mannerisms, or let's say their mindsets, or kind of their goals, or anything like that. And when you get around people like that, it's just how humans kind of work. We just kind of evolve into that kind of like, what are they doing, And so I think that having my chat room is a great place for people to have that like-minded. I have people who have been trading in my room 30 plus years as a trader, and I have people, and those are mods, and they help every single day, and I appreciate them so much because they give a lot back to the community. But I just don't charge for my chat room because I don't want people to have a wall up. I don't want people to have that like, oh, I can't get in because I don't have money.
Yeah.
I want them to be able to open up their eyes and see what's possible, and not have like I said, that wall. And then I also have things that I charge for, like my course, which I put 1.5 years of my life into that, and it's about 20 plus hours, about 23 hours of content. And it has basically a lot of my trading strategies that I use. And it's all kind of compact into a course that's the most condensed, nutrient dense is what I say, the most value of probably anything that I provide. And there's a reason why I cough, because it is the most condensed, the most value, and also the most time I've put probably into any project in my entire life. And what I say with that is that my course, it's very, very solid in terms of the concepts and in terms of the setups that I look for. But I will be honest, I'm not 100% going to be like the best teacher. I'm working on it.
Yeah.
I just have strategies that work, and I try and do my best to display them to you guys and how they work. But the concepts are very powerful in there, and then also I have scanners that are on the laptop that I'm using. This will have a different camera, but you guys can see it. This is my scanning setup that I use every single day.
Wow.
And then I have this sign that says, "Stay patient. You only need 3 or 4 plus A setups a day." And that kind of just is my most important. Sometimes I get myself in an over trading situation. And there's so many ways to trade. I have a student. I have 3 multi-million, or let's see, I'm going to say 3 multi-millionaire students, or actually 2 multi-millionaire students, and or 1 millionaire student. The other 2 are multi-millionaires. And I love talking with them because I can sit down with them and I just know, we are so fluent in conversation. We know what we're thinking. We know where this is moving. When we sit down, it is a let's say like not a conference, but it's just a bunch of people who are really driven in what they do. And when we bounce ideas back and forth, it is like symphony, right? Like it's just like, this guy thinks this guy thinks this. Maybe we push back here, this concept, this idea, maybe not so much. Now I have one of my millionaire students who's, doing what Qual Maggie does, which is a big, big name in the trading world, and I really, really look up to him. And his concepts are multi-week swing trades, right? And so now it's funny. He made millions in day trading, and now he's doing he'll just be kind of waking up, snoozing, kind of like looking for a couple setups, like GFI, maybe take a little trim here. Meaning sell a little bit of it, maybe, get out of a position here. It's kind of more slower paced, a little bit less like hands-on. But man, the amount of liquidity and the sizing up abilities you can do with that are tremendous. The guy that I look up to, he did like 90 million last year. And those are the kind of concepts that he did.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say he hit 100 mil. Actually, I think he actually did. I'm not gonna cut him short. But yeah, so his concepts are a big piece of something that I'm shifting into, but it's gonna take time. But yeah, so those guys, it's just fun to kind of sit down in a situation where you can just feel that people are very, very driven. It's a very, very high, moving pace when we're thinking about things, and it's just like, and I wish that people from the outside looking in could see what we talk about and how we talk and the mentality and the amount of time that we truly put into this,
Mm-hmm.
and then people could really see like what it really takes to excel at such a high level. I think too.
Yeah.
Obviously, 1,000 to 17 million. I don't really know, to be honest, if anybody's ever done that on the record. And the reality is, when I hit, I've been audited by Business Insider when we did our story at 5 mil, and they said they'd re-audit when I hit 30 mil. But that's something that definitely is crazy. But I'm pushing for bigger goals now, and those goals are higher size position. I'm not going to hit the 1,000, 10,000% returns because liquidity and that those kind of things aren't there.
Uh-huh.
But I really do want to push like the sky's the limit in that concept. So, but yeah, the scanner, like I said, going back to the scanner, that's all a part of the process, and actually, that's something that I offer as well on the website. But really, it's just a full on just how can I be better every day. There's parts that are paid, parts that aren't. I think you can truly get a ton out of just the free stuff. If you want a little cherry on top, there is that as well. So it's truly your decision on what you feel like you need in your life and where you're at. But yeah.
That's awesome, man. And for all of our listeners, our viewers out there, because this is going to be archived too, so you'll be able to go back and watch it. We have all Cam's links in the description, so make sure you guys check that out. Make sure you follow Cam on Twitter, Instagram, subscribe to his YouTube channel, as well as ours. But Cam, man, this has been so amazing, brother. I really just want to thank you for taking the time out of your day to sit down and talk to me, but really to all of our SYAC community, because there's going to be so many people that, whether they're listening now live or they're going to get home from their Valentine's Day dinners, they're going to definitely check this out tonight. So
yeah. No, thanks for having me on. Hopefully I can inspire a couple more people at least. Hopefully I can motivate, and just, if anything, the reality is in the markets, guys, like closing what I'll say is, what I really like about the markets, they ain't going anywhere. It's the heartbeat of the world. And if you put your mind into this, no matter where you're at in your life, if you're 18, if you're 50, 70, it's not going anywhere. So, and if anything, it's just an important part of life to learn about. We can't shy away from it, because the reality is when the market's tanking, you're probably going to have a lot of people at Costco, at Fred Meyer, struggling. And I remember when COVID was happening, I swear to God, it was like every other person I would listen to at Costco would just be like, man, it's been a tough time for me. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, I am so blessed. I have made more money than I ever have because of all this volatility. That's the way I trade. I don't mind. I actually kind of prefer the market goes down because it sets up things like LKNCY now, which is Luckin Coffee. That thing bounced from 1 to 6. Hertz, rental car company, bounced from 41 cents now to I think it's like $20.
Wow.
And intraday, I think it bounced like even 200% on a ton of liquidity. So but just hearing that. It's important to just learn the economics about how this world works, because when the market's going down, it's every person on this planet has some type of feel, whether it's going to work and people are cutting jobs, whether it's peeling back a layer at a time, they're in too much debt and the company goes under. There's just so much that has to do, and so much about life that has to do with the market that people don't even think about nor realize. And that's why I chose to learn. And I think that no matter where you're at in your life, even if you don't want to try and take 1,000 into 1,000,000, that's not your goal at all. Great, it's no big deal. Like 90% of people probably can't even fathom that, and that's fine. But just learning about the markets and just putting a little bit more time to it, I think, is a big step in the right direction, just to get more of an understanding about the economical stride of the U.S. How we kind of implant everyday decisions. Based upon, just what's going on in the world. So, yeah.
That's great, man. I mean, I know what I'm doing when I'm getting off this. I'm definitely going to your website. I'm going to start looking into this more because, I mean, you're saying it best. Anyone can do this. You just got to put the time in and have the right mindset. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
amazing.
And if you do end up starting to trade a little bit, just keep in touch. I'll try and get you in the right direction. And I do my best with DMs, but I'm not gonna lie, I get so many, and I apologize if there's people listening that I haven't responded to. Because it is a lot for me, and I try and keep my mentality or my mental side positive. And if I answer so many DMs, a lot of the questions I get, I'll be honest, they're questions that you could easily look up quickly, and I just don't answer those because they're already in the wrong mindset. If you're answering me, what's a candlestick? I mean, I'm not even going to kind of respond to that because I'll be honest, when I started, I did so much DD. I knew exactly, what I was looking at, and I was still failing. So that just tells you, I want to have questions that are well thought out, and then I'm like, okay, well, you really do want this, and in any of my core students, I'll try my best to answer them. 99% of them know that I'll answer them because they have skin in the game, and I think that's another big side of it. When you have skin in the game, it changes your mentality from free, being held off to okay, now I put hard-earned money into this. Let's actually they mean it. They're taking something and they're saying, okay, well, now I really do want this that bad, and here we go. This is what it means to me.
Yep.
And that, talk is BS. I've seen it so much. I can't explain to you. I've seen tens of thousands of people come to me and say, I want to be as successful as you. And the reality is, a lot of that is just they want it now, and it's not real. And then they're like, but the people that actually are like, okay, here's, and that's generally, I don't do it for any financial gain, really. I mean, it's a positive thing. It's great. But, like, the main thing is, you put your money where your mouth is, and, it goes, your mental side shifts from holding it off to, like, all right, I'm locked in because this is what I've put my mind to. This is what I've just spent maybe a full month's worth of pay or a half month's worth of pay to. And I mean this. There's no, effing around anymore. This is going to be me, and there's no plan B anymore. And that's the kind of people that I want, punching it in every day, grinding it out, and going through the trenches and being down a lot, being up a lot, going through all that. That's all part of the game. So,
wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's truly great, man.
So just feel free if you have any questions. I'll do my best to respond. Just give me a minute. And other than that, man, thanks for having me on. I hope you have a good Valentine's Day. Hopefully everybody out there has a great Valentine's Day. And hopefully I at least inspired one other person out there to at least learn a little bit more about trading in the markets.
You definitely did, man. Absolutely. And again, thank you so much for your time. Everyone's, so glad to have you here and to kind of just be a part of this with us. So happy Valentine's Day to you. You enjoy the rest of your day, and thanks again, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Cheers.
Cheers. All right, everybody. That was Cam the man. Big thank you to him. Make sure you guys thank him in the general chat. I mean, that was truly, truly amazing. And this is someone that's really going to be sticking with us. So again, if you want to learn more about Cam, make sure to check the link in the bio. Go check out his YouTube channel. Make sure to follow him on social media. And make sure to subscribe to his YouTube and follow him everywhere, as well as us. Make sure to subscribe to our channel if you're here now. You'll be able to go back and watch this. We're really, really glad to, be able to provide this. And soon, hopefully we'll have more talks with Cam soon, which will be exclusive to just the holders. We just wanted to get a little introduction to Cam moving forward. All right, everybody. Be sure to tune in to Twitch Tuesday tomorrow night. We are now affiliated on Twitch, so we'll be able to add some cool emotes, do some subscribing, some donos, anything like that. That'll be on there. So make sure to follow our Twitch, subscribe to the YouTube, and thank you all for taking the time to join us today live and anyone watching this back. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. And as always, we will see you in the chat.